What if one small glass every morning could shave minutes off the fog in your head, help you remember names and where you left your keys, and support the very earliest signs of cognitive trouble? Hear me out. This isn't a miracle cure, and it's not a replacement for medical evaluation. It's a simple physiological habit that may help your brain work better, starting on day one. Here's the deal. Overnight, your body becomes mildly dehydrated. While you sleep, you don't drink. Cells lose water. That includes brain cells. When those cells are a little off in their water and mineral balance, the tiny electrical signals that let neurons talk to each other slow down and misfire. The result? Brain fog, slow thinking, forgetfulness, trouble finding words, the kinds of things that make you worry, is this just stress or is it something worse? If you're concerned about early cognitive decline or just fed up with mornings of scattered thinking, try a targeted morning microprotocol that aims to restore both fluid and essential minerals right away. It's a small step you can do before coffee, without special equipment, and it's rooted in basic physiology, not hype. Start with a single small glass, roughly 250 milliliters, about 1 cup. Use clean, preferably filtered or spring mineral water. Add a tiny pinch of unrefined coarse sea salt. Think the tip of a coffee spoon, or enough that you can barely see it in the bottom of the glass. Stir until dissolved and drink on an empty stomach first thing after you get up. Why this combination? Water rehydrates cells. Salt supplies sodium and trace minerals that help restore the electrolyte balance your neurons need to fire correctly. Electrolytes, simple ions like sodium, potassium, and chloride, are the carriers of electrical current in the body. Neurons rely on gradients of these ions to create the quick voltage changes we call action potentials. Without adequate hydration and the right balance of ions, signaling becomes sluggish. Picture neurons like tiny electrical wires. The wires need both insulation, water, and a consistent supply of charged particles to transmit signals cleanly. Replenishing both supports clearer thinking. A few practical details make the difference. Use an unrefined sea salt or a coarse mineral salt. These salts still contain trace minerals, magnesium, potassium, and others that refined table salt has largely lost. Avoid iodized table salt for this morning glass. The goal is a broader mineral profile, not added iodine. For the water, choose a clean source. If your tap water is heavily chlorinated or tastes strong, filter it or use spring water. The better the water and salt quality, the gentler the habit will be on your stomach and system. Keep the quantity modest. That tiny pinch of coarse salt gives a small, safe boost of sodium suitable for most healthy adults. This is not an invitation to add spoonfuls of salt. The morning glass is a microdose to kickstart balance after a night's fast. For the rest of the day, aim for roughly 2.5 liters of plain water total. Again, an approximate target. Your exact needs will vary by body size, activity level, climate, and health conditions, but around 2.5 liters is a reasonable goal for many adults. Only the first glass contains salt. The remainder of your daily water intake should be plain. Timing matters. Drink this mineralized glass first thing, before coffee, before a heavy breakfast, while your stomach is empty. The early intake helps rehydrate cells and reestablish electrolyte balance before meals and before you start moving through your day. If you exercise first thing, it's still fine. Consider sipping the glass before you head out or right after a short warm-up, depending on what feels best for you. Complement this habit with light aerobic movement. A brisk 20-30-minute walk, a short bike ride, or even a quick stare and walk routine increases blood flow to the brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients that work alongside hydration to improve cognition. Think of it as helping the brain's supply chain. Hydration primes the cells, blood flow carries fuel and removes waste. Together, they make your neurons more efficient. You might wonder, how quickly should you expect to change? In my clinical observations over years working with adults worried about memory and focus, some people report clearer thinking within days of improving their hydration and mineral intake. Others notice incremental improvements in energy and concentration over 2 to 4 weeks. These are anecdotal reports, encouraging but not proof of cure. Consider giving the routine at least 2 to 4 weeks while paying attention to changes in how you think, remember, and feel. Let me give a simple example. I've seen patients come in describing mornings when names were blank, details slipped away, and attention felt thin. After adopting basic changes, consistent hydration, that morning mineralized glass, and a short daily walk, several reported fewer blank moments, less mental fuzziness, and a steadier sense of clarity. These were not dramatic medical reversals, they were small, measurable improvements in daily function that made life easier. That's what this protocol aims for. Better day-to-day cognitive performance, not a guaranteed prevention of any disease. It's important to be clear about safety. Do not increase sodium intake without thinking if you have high blood pressure, heart failure, kidney disease, or if you follow a sodium-restricted diet. If you take medications that affect fluid or electrolyte balance, diuretics, certain blood pressure drugs, or heart medications, consult your physician first. Even a small extra pinch of salt can matter when the system is fragile. If you have diabetes, talk to your provider about fluid strategies that fit your plan. If you notice swelling, shortness of breath, a rapid rise in blood pressure, or other worrying symptoms after changing your routine, stop and seek medical advice. Also, if you have progressive cognitive problems, increasing confusion, trouble performing normal tasks, memory gaps that get worse, don't self-treat this way and hope it resolves. See a neurologist or primary care physician promptly for evaluation. This morning glass is a supportive habit, not a substitute for diagnostic work or medical treatment when indicated. A few practical tips to make the habit stick. Keep a small jar of coarse sea salt by the kitchen sink and a dedicated measuring spoon if that helps. Use a clear glass so you can easily see the tiny pinch dissolve. If plain mineral water tastes flat to you, add a squeeze of lemon. Citrus won't interfere with the minor electrolyte boost and can make the ritual more pleasant. If you travel or sleep over somewhere, bring a small sachet of your preferred salt so you can maintain consistency. Be mindful of overhydration too. Drinking huge quantities of water quickly can dilute electrolytes and is counterproductive. That's not the issue here. We're talking one small, measured glass with a controlled pinch of salt first thing, then steady hydration through the day. Balance is the key. Why do I recommend the salt only in the first glass and not throughout the day? Overnight, the body enters a brief fast state. Sodium levels and hydration shift slightly while you sleep. That first small dose aims to restore a gentle sodium baseline to promote normal cellular function. Later, plain water maintains hydration without repeatedly increasing sodium intake. Regular meals and foods provide additional electrolytes naturally, and later-in-day salt boosts are usually unnecessary for most people. If you want to track progress, use a simple journal. Note how many blank moments you experience each morning, rate your clarity from 1 to 10, and record energy levels. After 2 weeks, compare entries. Small, consistent gains can be motivating. Ask a family member if they've noticed you being more present or less forgetful. External feedback is often more objective than our own impressions. There's some scientific plausibility to this approach. Studies show that even mild dehydration affects cognitive performance, especially attention and working memory. Electrolyte balance is fundamental to neuronal excitability. What remains less defined in research is whether a single morning microdose of mineralized water changes long-term disease risk for neurodegenerative conditions. So be cautious and realistic. This habit is a low-cost, low-risk supportive strategy that targets basic physiology. It can improve symptoms like brain fog and day-to-day forgetfulness. It should be part of a broader approach to brain health that includes sleep, diet, movement, mental engagement, and regular medical care. You may encounter anecdotes online attributing similar routines to various practitioners or traditions. Some of those accounts are interesting and worth exploring, but treat origin stories as anecdotal unless backed by rigorous research. Use common sense and medical guidance when in doubt. A few extra lifestyle points that multiply the benefit. Prioritize sleep. Poor sleep disrupts hydration signaling and cognitive restoration. Maintain a balanced diet rich in potassium, fruits, vegetables, which complement sodium to maintain healthy cell function. Keep socially and mentally active. Puzzles, social conversation, and new learning stimulate neuronal networks and support resilience. Together, these habits create an environment where the simple morning glass can have the best chance to help. If you decide to try this, do it consistently for 2 to 4 weeks and observe. Make the action simple. 1 small glass, roughly 250 ml, of clean mineral water with a tiny pinch of unrefined sea salt first thing on an empty stomach. Then maintain roughly 2.5 liters of water across the day and add a daily 20-30 minute brisk walk or equivalent aerobic activity. No changes in your clarity, attention, and daily memory tasks. If you'd like a quick reference, I've put a 1-page morning hydration protocol in the description, a printable checklist to help you start this habit without fuss. Download it and keep it near your sink for the first few weeks. Finally, remember this: small habits compound. One modest, physiologically sensible routine can reduce the day-to-day friction of forgetfulness and fog. It won't promise to stop a disease or replace medical care, but it can be a practical first step you control. If your symptoms persist or worsen, make an appointment with your physician or a neurologist. If you're on blood pressure or heart medication, check with your provider before adding sodium to your mornings. Try it for a month. Give your body the hydration and minerals it needs to start the day. Pay attention to how your mind responds. If you find clearer thinking, better focus, and fewer fleeting memory lapses, keep it as a low-effort, high-value habit. If this resonated, subscribe for more practical, evidence-minded tips you can test at home. And whatever you do, don't ignore worrying cognitive changes. Consult a clinician. Small actions help, but early professional assessment can make an even bigger difference.